Yeah, we really appreciate people staying. We've had a nice sized crowd tonight, and the vast majority of all of you are still with us an hour 45 later. Great discussion. And I think kind of as we kick things off, every county's a little different, and that's just fine. That's why you have local control over the fairs, right? The board puts it on, 4-H is a partner, a lot of things happen. And then it just happens within, we need to conform and be within the 4-H rules and regs, and it all gets pulled together. So I always learn something from these. I learned a lot from the chat box and how different people organize their shows. I hope you have done the same. And so really what we want to do now is we have a few minutes. We won't drag it on if questions die off. But if you do have some questions you would like to ask in general, whether that's tonight, whether it was some things if you were on last night and had a question or comment to follow up, we can sure do that at this point. So what we'll do is we'll watch the chat, but also if you want to unmute yourself, you're more than willing to do that, and then ask your question, or if you have a comment, and then just remute yourself back, and we can have other dialogue. So would encourage that at this time for some open discussion.
Joel, can you hear me?
Yes.
I've got a question. Are any counties represented here? Have any of the counties on here gone to DNA testing or taking DNA samples, say at their first weigh-ins, in case there's any controversy later as to whether the same animal gets to the fair?
Okay. Yeah, so the question is, this deals with the county. Ignore the state where we have to do that for state fair and KGLS. Just on a county basis, is anybody, and you can unmute yourself and say yes, or if you go in the chat, yes, please indicate if you're doing DNA at the county level. So quite a few in the chat. So far, all no's. If somebody is a yes, you can sure say that. Yeah, Lance, I see you're up.
Well, I would kind of follow up to that is we're not doing it in Riley County, but what about tagging the breeding side? Does anybody require that?
Yep, good point. So I would say on the DNA, I have not seen anybody that is doing DNA. Kelsey at Cowley County says they looked into it, but cost prohibitive. So again, I haven't seen any others that do DNA at a county level. Good point, Lance, on breeding animals. So do different counties require on breeding goat, sheep, pigs, cattle, at least in the spring here with your tagging deadlines your county may have? So on commercial heifers, looks like Rush, they tag gilts and does. So they follow the state fair guidelines. So they put the tag in, yeah, okay. Commercial females and all swine at Butler County. Several are only tagging market. Commercial heifers probably get as much, probably in my experience too, if there is, these commercial heifers often get tagged, but maybe the other breeding don't. So that's a little different within. Everything needs a tag unless they have registration papers, okay? Heifer tattoos. Yeah, so I'm breeding heifers. I would suspect we'd be using registration papers or tattoos that go with that, but that's certainly an option. So Jared, Rush, so something about check tattoos and heifers at beginning of weigh-in. So are you having the breeding heifers come in to the official tag-in of market animals, and that's when you verify breeding heifers? I'll just follow up to you on that if you would. Maybe he's not. I know. Yeah, so we check tattoos when they come through beginning of weigh-in, okay? Yeah, that's for state shows. No, they don't have to. It's just usually out of convenience if people, yep, okay. Very good. So yeah, so the breeding cattle, the breeding species, it looks like we certainly have a mix. I think that's just really what you're able to do and how much you want to do that on a tracking basis. But yep, okay. What other questions are out there with some of the logistics of the various shows that you would have?
Kara, I see that you've raised your hand. Do you have a comment or a question that you'd like to pose to the group?
Oops, I think my mic cut out. Sorry. Just comment on getting judges and securing those if you're going to have them multiple years too. I think one of the biggest things is making sure that you are supporting your judges and making sure that you're having adequate ring help, and making sure that those judges are there to do a job and judge a show. They're not there to really tail the livestock or keep pigs from fighting or something. So that might be me getting up on a soapbox, but just from being on both sides of things, of putting on some shows and judging some shows too, making sure that you have adequate ring help. That's going to make your judges want to come back if they have a good experience. Then also, I mean, the livestock community is smaller than you think. Judges talk, and you're more likely to get other judges to be interested in coming to judge those shows in the future.
Yeah, I'd echo that, Kara. I think it's important on the judges. Two things I want to leave you with. One, you as counties are hiring the judge, okay? So there's nothing that will irritate me worse, as well as probably yourselves, if you have a judge that comes in and thinks it's their show. It is not their show, it is your show. But part of that is you have to take the responsibility of helping the judge understand the placings. Not, in general, you do the same placings, but some fairs give some purples, some don't, or at least in terms of maybe the top ones. Some counties, it's tradition. It's no problem if there's a white ribbon animal to give it. Some counties I've been to, you thought I just freaked everybody out when I just asked that question. So make sure that you help set the expectations, because oftentimes judges do what they have a tradition doing, especially if they're from out of state. They may not fully understand our county ribbon placing and the implications. Good example is premium sales. Several counties do not allow a white ribbon animal to enter a premium sale, okay? So the judge needs to be aware of this. And I'm not saying that we can't have white ribbon animals, but if it's a borderline case and somebody gets a white ribbon and then is not allowed to be in the premium sale, everybody gets really mad at the judge, right? It's the judge's fault. Well, did you explain that at the beginning? Because that will soften a judge up, or at least put that in their mind, that we want to make sure that we're not creating a negative experience for these youth in the shows. And that's not to say we tell judges how to place or how to give ribbons, but oftentimes some of these out-of-state judges, younger judges, do not understand our ribbon placing. I came from South Dakota. We didn't do this same type of ribbon placing. It was still the numerical 1 to 10 or whatever it was. So you got to explain it and make sure that if your county is any sort of different, you explain to the judge, you have enough ring help. There's nothing worse than having to tail cattle or help kids pen every pig because there's no ring help, just as Kara said. But it's your show, not the judges. Yeah, but the way you help control that is be very clear in terms of the classes, the placings, the ribbons, what's a champion, divisions, all those things. You can really help yourself in that regard. Okay. Some questions on the fair management system, what people are doing there. Maybe, I know there's some going in the chat box. Anybody would like to talk about their fair management system, what they've done, or if they've changed, or how they utilize that? Because I know that is a big area. In the past, we've utilized, that's been a topic, a dedicated topic. We do not have that this year, but it's certainly worth discussing if you'd like.
Joe, I'd like to say a couple things, not on the fair management, but I'm the 4-H representative at the state fair for beef cattle, for market steers and heifers. And when you stand in line and the 4-Hers come through with their cattle, there's a difference between counties. Kids that come through in some counties have all their paperwork together and all their numbering system is good, and it goes pretty smooth. And then I'm not saying that doesn't happen even in good counties, but there's some counties that it's not that smooth, and we're having trouble verifying the right tag number with the right animal tattoo number, with a lot of different things. And that all can be done at our local weigh-ins, and I think that probably needs to be done. I listened to a livestock PFT earlier last week, and there was tags that leave the office that just get handed to people to put in calves or pigs, and I think that's tough. I know this year it's different. I understand that. It's good. Hopefully it doesn't create a big mass of problems. But our county and McPherson we're taking pictures. They're showing pictures of all angles of the animal for identification, ear notches for the pigs, and hopefully some of that's going to help. We're going to have to police ourselves. I understand that this year, but some other years it would just be nice if some of that gets stopped at the county fair and then it doesn't move on to the bigger shows that it goes to.
Yeah, yeah. No, good point. Good point. Thanks for that. One of the things too we want to do is we're getting close to time, and we'll finish up with some questions. Lexi, would you mind putting up the eval code, as well as I'll let Lexi describe what we need here and what we want. And also she'll put this link in the chat box as well. What we need is good feedback. We still have a large crowd. We appreciate everybody that's hung with us. This eval is super quick, and we truly use this to set the next programs in terms of areas you'd like discussed. If there's individual areas that you would like expanded on, the next time we do this, the program is primarily almost all built off of the feedback. So Lexi, can you set us up here?
Yeah, absolutely, Joel. So on your screen is our survey, both the direct link, which I can put in the chat box as well, and then a QR code. So if you have a QR code reader on your phone or iPad, just get it out and scan the code, and it will take you to the evaluation for tonight. And it'll be, if you did it last night, this is a little different. It'll ask you if you've already submitted it and if you want to make any changes. And if you do, just change the questions or maybe make additions to the questions you want to. If you think you're all set with the information you provided last night, then you can just say that you don't want to add anything, and it will skip you to the end. We want to be respectful of your time, but we do appreciate the feedback. And like I said, there were several topics that we covered last night and tonight that were based off of the surveys that we received.
How do you take that thing? Reader code?
Yeah, you have to have a QR code reader, which you can download an app really quick if you go to.
I have it, I thought.
Actually, Lexi, if you pull up your camera app and just put it on that QR code, it'll pop up.
Yeah.
Or that too, Shad. There you go.
So yeah, and so if you'd help us fill it out, it gives us feedback, and no one on this call between agents and board members and volunteers is ever shy about giving opinions, and neither is Lexi or I, as you've figured out, or myself. So please give that feedback. We really appreciate a couple things to leave you with as you do that eval and as we wrap up. Again, thank you for joining. Thank you for all you do for our youth livestock program and the youth, both our county agents, our board members, our volunteers. Every one of you makes our fairs go. It's so important for our youth, and that's why we're glad that we could bring this program to you virtually over Zoom, and really appreciate the time that you've taken these last couple evenings. So again, if you have any comments, what we will do as a wrap up, we will be posting these videos We will be capturing kind of the content out of the chat boxes. We'll boil it down into our theme areas and help summarize some of the information that came through that. We'll be in touch in terms of when we get all that put together. Is probably in beginning of next week before we'll get all that out. Please share this information with your additional board members or agents or volunteers. And we really appreciate everybody's attendance. And again, just thank you for all you do. So Lexi, anything else as we wrap up tonight, or Wade, anything you'd like to end with here as well?
No, and I will get that link in the chat box. I'll go ahead and add it now.
Okay, great.
I just wanted to say thank you all for your participation and your continued investment in young people across the state of Kansas, and look forward to another year of partnering together to create great memories and to continue to help young people grow and develop into the adults that we want to be in our communities. So appreciate your partnership.
Yeah, thanks, Wade. And yep, and again, just good luck with planning your fairs. Hopefully this causes some discussion, and just think about different things, how you approach it. That's what our goal is to really have this discussion. So thank you very much. Good luck with your fairs, and we look forward to working with you again in the future.